Welcome back to Project Smoke. I want to go over what we did last time, what we talked about last time on the counterbalance, the inside, the tray, and I want to go over shelves, and let's see what we did. There's the counterbalance that I worked on from last time. What I did was I used 1-inch square tubing. First thing I do is I'll cut the tubing 45, and I cut myself roughly about an 8-inch piece, 8 to 10-inch piece, on evenly on both sides. I'll open my lid open like that, the door. I'll get a pair of vice grips, and I'll grip the hinge like that. I'll step back. What I like to do is I like to have it so that this edge here is even with this cutout down here, just for a cleaner look. You could go further back if you like. If you go any further front, it's just going to collapse on you every time. So what I do is I'll get my piece. Once I have it where I want it and it's clamped down, I'll get my piece, and I'll just measure how far down I want to go. On this one I went 6 inches. Make sure that you do this one. This one's the exact same size. You want 6 inches on each side. That's what I did, 6 inches, and it works out good. What you do is you weld. Well, first of all, you want to go center. So I went center of inside trim to center of door here, and then I just did it center third, so I'm even on my spacing. So everywhere is even. Center third. Just with this on, just like that, just with the door open and locked where you want it. Weld on your piece with your welder. Make sure it's plumb and level all the way through, and weld this one on. They both should be touching at the bottom. There's no gap down there, all the way across. Once you got that going, go ahead and close your door. Get your top bar. Depending on the weight of this door here, this is not too heavy. I'll usually go an upsize, so this would be like 1.5 inches, because this is 1 inch or 1.25 inch tubing. It's hollow right now. What I'll do here is I'll just use a piece of 1-inch flat bar stock, and I'll just weld it on just before it's closed. That's just part of the finishing touches there. So they're both cut out in 45s and welded on. Let's go over our tray. This is my tray here. Measures 2 feet. By 11.5 inches. What I did was I cut 45s on each end, all 4 corners. You could also go straight down and just meet with a square end. I like the 45 looks. I did a center brace here in the middle, just for extra support on my number 9 expanded metal mesh here. I cut myself the exact length for expanded metal, so we got a nice good fit on each side here. Give yourself about 1/8 of an inch on each side, on every side here, so it'll fit nice. When you're welding this on, you want tack weld about every 6 inches and every corner. You want to use all your vice grips and clamp it down. That way it's tight on here. Same thing on the center here. Every few inches, give yourself a little tack weld. It'll hold it down. There's my handle. I used 1/2 inch round stock, and I just bent it. I went off center, and I went 2.5 inches from end to center here, just so I got enough room for my fingers down below, and I went wide enough so my hand fits in there. You could go smaller, or you could go longer. You could even go all the way across. Another option is you go on center, and you go a few inches on each side, as wide as your hand is, and you go on both sides. You have handles on both sides. You could use anything, like I said. You could use a horseshoe. You could use another slag hammer as a tray here for the handle. What I did was I did this on a 45 there. You can see it's on a 45. So the door won't obstruct it. It won't obstruct the door, and it's just a little more convenient to grab on and pull out. There's my 1.5" by 1/8 angle we talked about. I just measured it all the way across. Use my square here, and I'm square, and also here, so I'm square all the way around. So we got a good fit on with our tray. Welded it on. I weld on usually one side. I'll weld it good. Second side, what I'll do is I'll just tack there and tack back there. Then I'll slide my tray on to make sure it's plumb and it's not higher on one side or and then on the other. I'll use my 2-foot level and I'll run it across from angle iron to end of angle to end of angle here, top. Make sure I'm level. Slides out, slide in, no problem. Did a bit of edge on each side, front and back. Won't obstruct. When you're going to drill for your temperature gauge, you want to make sure you drill high enough that you're not going to hit your tray there, or the stem won't get it either. So you want to just make sure you go up just a little bit high, give yourself a few marks, and know where you're going to drill for it. Next installment, I want to go ahead and do the stand on this. I'm going to be using 1" by 1/8 angle, and I'm going to build myself a stand. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet. But I do know that I want to go just a little bit above waist level, so when I cook I can look down on it and cook fairly easily, depending on how tall you are. Remember, this is a custom homemade smoker, so you built it how you like, or you built it on what you want. More than likely it's going to have wheels for access. I decided my firebox is going to be on this side here. Put the firebox here, an offset smoker. So my temperature gauge, I decided I'm going to put it on this side here, on the opposite end. That way I get a pretty accurate reading. I know I'm hot on this side, definitely be hot on this side here. So there it is. That's the Project Smoke here. Moving right along. I've been using 7018 electrodes to weld this.